I was saying earlier that we've heard of new terms, Nigerians are hearing social distancing, self-isolation, they're hearing asymptomatic, we have to flatten the curve, and they are like, what is all this one again? So I would like you to really define these terms for us, because when you're hearing that there are different strains of coronavirus, and you're wondering, what is going on? Some are even saying it's airborne. So could you help us break it down? Coronavirus, is it airborne? When they say asymptomatic, what does that mean? And how fast does it spread?
Thank you. Thank you very much for your questions. All those terms are new to you, to me, to everybody else. Coronavirus is a family of viruses. Okay. So it's like a compound name, and then you now go distinctive by naming it at the composition level. So COVID-19 is actually what we're looking at, which belongs in the coronavirus family. Okay. Flattening the curve and how fast it's spreading. Well, it's spreading fast worldwide. The rate that it's spreading is defying, in my own opinion, science. Because even up till about a few days ago, it wasn't considered an airborne disease. So it has some components of airborne, but it's not that definitive because it's evolving. We're finding new information out every day. Right. Scientists are working worldwide per minute, per second, break it down to microseconds just to find out that, oh, it's not what we thought it was, it's changes. So there's information coming out every single day, and it's going to be like that until we actually combat this to zero. So it's not something that I can say, if I stand up from here, what I've said might be invalid, because some scientists might have found out something better than what I said a few minutes ago.
Yeah, so I'm worried because of the peculiarity of the Nigerian people, in the sense that, when we hear that people are self-isolating outside the country, we know what it means. Their housing systems are better. They can, take a room and just stay. But we have not put into consideration those ones who live in face me, I slap you kind of rooms, a compound of how many, So if peradventure, that outbreak gets to someone who lives in a crowded environment, how effective is this self-isolation?
Self-isolation is, at that point in time, I must say, then it will become very dynamic. Let's start with hygiene. If you're washing your hands, you drive down the possibility, the risk factor of getting it. You're keeping to yourself to the best of your ability. I mean, if we are all to be isolated, the ideal would be one person per country. One person per country. That would be the ideal. That way we would definitely drive it down. But that is in a bubble. That's in some la-la land.
No reality.
Keeping to yourself, isolating to the best of your ability would become the norm in a situation like that. Provided you're washing your hands, keeping yourself clean, making sure that you're doing everything that conforms to the guidelines, we can all try our best. That's where we're going. This is a challenge for humanity. It's not just specific to anybody anymore. It's a challenge for humanity, and science is not normal anymore. So science is evolving as we go along.
Nigerians are hearing stay home, self-isolate, distance yourself. But they don't understand. You're talking about that a bit early, but I wanted you to land. What does it mean exactly to flatten that curve? Because we know that once somebody gets it, it's about 14 to 21 days, right? And that for the presentation. Now, if you stay at home and do your 21 days in your house and don't affect anybody else, that stops it at least from spreading. But people don't get that understanding. So I want you to break down flattening the curve so that Nigerians can understand why we're asking them to stay home. Not just that they don't want to spread.
Exactly. A case in point would be case 31 in South Korea.
Yes.
Korea. She alone infected 1,200 people. So imagine one person doing that, and then do the mathematics. By time you. So if you're self-isolating, especially if you've traveled or if you've had contact with people or someone that has been confirmed positive and all that, you reduce the risk for everybody else. And at least you'll be able to say, this is who I saw, this is what I saw, or where I've been. That way, you make it less cumbersome for everybody. Because if all resources are pooled to tackle 1,200 at a go. And we're not multiplying, we dare not multiply by Lagos State's population.
Since you go ahead.
Yes. So, do you think that the government, and I know you work for Lagos State, so you would likely speak for Lagos State, is doing enough? You know, the measures they are putting in place is enough? Because I have seen countries that they are not taking chances at all. As we speak, our borders are still partially, somehowly open. People are still getting in. So, do you think there is more that we can do to ensure that we comply and everybody stays at home?
Definitely. The more that we can do is you and me. Lagos State government or any government anywhere in the world is a collective number of people. If a government is giving you directives, do not do this, do not go out, do not do this, and you flout it, you're risking everybody else's life. So
tell them.
You're saying that government, but at the end of the day, the government is you and me.
Concerning hygiene, and I know Hypo sponsored this segment,
yes.
People are diluting Hypo and spraying it. I mean, let me just say myself, my house.
Report yourself.
I have diluted the handles, remote controls, tabletops, my kitchen counters, everywhere I am spraying. Is that overdoing it? Or is that what we should be doing?
Well, I can't say you're overdoing it. I think I'll rather log it under you're being cautious. So keeping the surface of any object clean is definitely crucial. And Hypo has been doing that way before COVID-19 came into town anyway. So as long as you're using it to clean the surface and making sure that things are clean, I can't say you're being overzealous. You're just being cautious and being proactive.